I am Sara-Jane Gage, and I am CEO of Engage Fitness DC. I'm also a Kripalu yoga instructor and former therapist, among other things. In this practice, we're going to talk about radical acceptance. And radical acceptance is part of dialectical behavior therapy, or DBT, if you've heard that term. And the idea of radical acceptance was created by an author named Tara Brach. And Tara Brach created this idea around radical acceptance, the idea that when we're faced with a problem, when we're faced with a stressor, we have choices about how we deal with or don't deal with those things. So just as an example before we launch into it, if on the way wherever you go next, you hopped in your car and you got a flat tire, you have a few choices about how you handle that situation, right? There are some people who are going to get really upset, and they're going to yell and scream and cuss and say, "Why me? This always happens to me. I'm running late. This is ridiculous. I don't have time for this." And they're going to get stuck, and they're going to dwell on the emotions, and they're going to ruminate. There's another type of person that might ignore it. It's not a big deal. It's not happening. I'm not dealing with it. I'm just going to drive really slow and it won't ruin my rim. It should be fine. I'll just keep going. I'm almost home. Okay. Option 2. Alternatively, another way someone might deal with it is to accept it. To remove the emotion, to remove the judgment and all the narrative around it. Acknowledge the feelings. Notice, yes, I'm angry, I'm annoyed, this is frustrating. But to not dwell on them, to notice and then let them go. And instead, accept the situation for what it is. That's the whole idea of radical acceptance. We accept reality for what it is, rather than what we think it should be, or what we want it to be, or it's supposed to be, or we wish it would be. So, flow along with me, starting in a child's pose. Any variation of child's pose that feels good for you to start in. Sink the hips back towards heels. Get really comfortable because we'll be here for a few moments, settling into the hips and into the shape. And as you land here, find your breath. Notice the breath. Notice if it's shallow or full. Is it slow or quick? Notice. And then begin to deepen it. Breathe in just a little bit more deeply on your next inhale. As you exhale, open mouth, release. Sigh it out. Take that a few more times. On each inhale, you breathe into the lungs just a little bit more deeply. As you exhale, it's an open mouth release, allowing for a sigh, some sound, some feeling to the breath. Continue that breath. As you do, and you sink into this child's pose shape, consider where in your life are you perhaps not accepting reality for what it is. Is there a current problem, a current situation or challenge you are faced with, and you find yourself stuck on the should be's? So supposed to be's, have to be's, need to be's. Do you find that's your dialogue around it? Or is there an area that perhaps you're ignoring entirely? It doesn't exist. If I don't think about it, if I don't talk about it, it's not there, and I don't have to do anything about it. What resonates with you? And as you identify whatever that problem, that challenge, that situation is, that perhaps you're not quite accepting yet, envision it in your mind's eye and notice the feelings attached to it. Notice the thoughts attached to it. As you notice, check in. Is there physical sensations present? Is there a certain feeling in the body? Is there tension somewhere you're aware of as you think about this problem, challenge, situation? Where do you feel it? And what does it feel like? Continue to breathe into it. Notice if your breath just changed as you shifted your attention to the feelings. If it did, bring it back. Let the breath be full once more. Big inhales. As you exhale, open mouth, release. Perhaps with some sound, perhaps not. That's your choice. Bring the attention back to the breath. Shift from feelings to breath. And breathe in a little bit more deeply on the next inhale. As you exhale, begin to slowly make your way to our first tabletop pose. Taking your time to get there. Transitioning in whatever way makes sense for you. Allow yourself to take some movement. Perhaps some cat-cows or circling as you land here. If you need a little movement, a little stretch, listen in. And then find your way to neutral tabletop. Nice flat back. The navel sucks into spine just a little bit to feel that core activate. And the right hand plants down evenly through your mat. As you inhale, slow rise of the left hand towards the sky. Exhale, thread the needle. Fingertips reach underneath that right shoulder. Inhale, slow rise. Open up. As you exhale, flow it through. Thread the needle. Take that a few more times with your own breath. Feeling the chest, the heart, the back, the spine, all begin to warm up and flow with your breath. And whenever it feels right for you, if you so choose, reach underneath that arm, thread the needle, and let the shoulder blade plant. As the shoulder blade plants, the bicep, forearm lands, your cheek lands on the floor if that's available, and you lean into that shoulder just a little bit. You can keep the knees, the hips wherever they are. If you want to play with any variations, feel free. Maybe there's a bind, Maybe there's an extension of the leg up behind you. Wherever you choose to go, don't lose that connection with your breath. Let it flow in and out. Take one more inhale into the shape. As you exhale, slow release from this side. Make your way back to neutral table. Pausing for any movement, any wiggle. And then take it to the second side. From neutral tabletop, the left hand plants down this time so that right hand can reach high. As you exhale, thread the needle, reach those fingertips through. Begin to create a flow here. Opening into the second side, opening into the heart, the chest, the back, the spine, the hips. Where can you let go of something somewhere? Can you let go of the emotions attached to that situation, that challenge, that problem that you envisioned earlier? What would it feel like? What would it look like if instead you chose to accept it for what it is? To accept the reality and let go of the narrative that you're perhaps assigning to it. Continue that flow on this side for as long as it serves you, and then perhaps you decide to plant it down. Shoulder blade plants, cheek lands. Taking any variation here that serves you. As you settle into this shape, notice if the breath has shifted. Bring it back. Intentional breath here. Intentional choices to let go. Intentional choice to accept what is true and real. Take one more inhale. As you exhale, slow release from this side. Finding your way back to tabletop. Pausing for any wiggle, any movement that serves you. And then finding your way back to neutral tabletop once more. This time, we extend the leg back, driving through the heel. Get really long through that leg, long through the heel. Take an inhale. As you exhale, foot drops over to the opposite side. Toes land, or even the top of the foot if that feels good. And you might take a look over your shoulder at that foot for a bit more stretch into the side body. Notice the sensations, the feelings in this shape. Are you holding on? Are you clenching? Can you soften something somewhere? One more inhale. As you exhale, slow slide of the knee back to meet the other tabletop. Take a wiggle. little movement before extending opposite leg back from your neutral tabletop. Driving through the heel, get long through that leg, long through the glute. Take an inhale. As you exhale, foot drops over to the opposite side. And just like the first side, you might take a look over the shoulder at your foot for a bit more. Check in with your breath. Notice the quality of the mind. Is it busy? Is it ruminating over that challenge, problem, situation? Take one more inhale into this shape. One more inhale into that problem, challenge, situation. As you exhale, knee slides back. Bring the knees together at the center midline. As you exhale, slow release of all the breath. Start to sway the hips side to side. Nice and wide hip sway in your tabletop. Take that a few more times. And then when you're satisfied there, slide the hips back towards heels. Find your child's pose shape one more time. Any variation that serves you. As you sink into child's pose, perhaps coming back to those big cleansing breaths by inhaling through the nose, expanding the chest. Releasing an audible exhale from an open mouth. Allow yourself to sink into this shape. With each exhale, you soften and surrender into it a bit more. With each breath, you let go of something somewhere. You let go of attachment to outcome. You let go of control. You let go of judgment and labeling. And when we let go of these things and instead we accept what is for what it is, that doesn't necessarily mean that we like it or we agree with the situation. It simply means that we're taking the emotion and the narrative that comes along with it out of the equation. When we focus on things just a little bit more logically, a little bit more intellectually, and take the emotion out of it just a bit, sometimes that can help us push through that stuck feeling, that overwhelmed avoidance feeling, that difficulty accepting what is for what it is, rather than getting caught up in that narrative of what we think should be or is supposed to be, or we wish it was. It starts with a choice to accept, a choice to become self-aware enough to notice when you're getting stuck, when you're in your emotions, when you're in your head. Can you instead accept, adapt, and act? One of my favorite quotes is an anonymous one. It says, one of the secrets to happiness is to let every situation be what it is instead of what you think it should be. My reading for this practice is from Melody Beattie's More Language of Letting Go. It's entitled, It's Our Lesson. It starts with a quote by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross from her book, The Wheel of Life. When you learn your lessons, the pain goes away. Sometimes we wait and wait for a painful situation to end. When will he stop drinking? When will she call? When will this financial situation get better? When will I know what to do next? Life has its own timeline. As soon as we get the lesson, the pain neutralizes and then disappears. And the lesson is always ours. Examine your life. Are you waiting for someone or something outside of you to happen to make you feel better? Are you waiting for someone to learn his or her lesson for your pain to stop? If you are, try turning inward. See what the lesson really is. And so we ask, dear universe, please show me what I am supposed to be learning right now. On your next inhale, breathe in a little bit more deeply, and as you exhale, it releases from an open mouth, sticking your tongue out. Let go of tension in the jaw, the face, the forehead. On your next inhale, it's a slow rise up to a comfortable seat. No right or wrong way to get there. No right or wrong way to sit. Allow yourself to arrive and land. Everything. We have choices. And so as you leave your mat this practice, you choose how your day goes from here. Make a choice. Perhaps set an intention for the remainder of your day, but do envision happening from here. How do you want it to go. Envision it in your mind's eye. Feel it. See it. On your next inhale, slow rise of the hands up overhead. Palms meeting at the peak before exhaling to heart center. Take that 2 more times. As you do, keep in your mind's eye that intention. What will the remainder of this day bring to you? And what will you choose to take from it? We pass by third eye to allow us to make a choice to think kind thoughts. We pass by lips making a choice to speak kind words. Resting at our heart, making a choice to be kind. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me. I am so grateful that you do. I know this practice was jam-packed with little tips and techniques and things around radical acceptance, and so if it spoke to you, I strongly encourage you to read Tara Brach's book, Radical Acceptance, among her other work. She's fantastic. Very like-minded to Melody Beattie, who I read from often. Additionally, if you have questions about radical acceptance, about DBT or distress tolerance, it's part of what radical acceptance is. It's teaching us distress tolerance. When pardon my language, when shit hits the fan, what do? How do you react? What are your options? It's the whole idea. So radical acceptance is one opportunity. Yeah. Till next time, be safe, be kind, continue choosing to be well. Have a great day, guys. Hope to practice with you again soon.